What's up, Broncos country? Did you see that epic comeback against the Giants in Week 7? Field goal at the last second, total delirium, victory ripped away with blood in our eyes? Yeah. But what should have been just celebration turned into a giant problem for the Broncos defense. Dre Greenlaw in his debut with the orange and blue jersey did something at the end of that game nobody expected. And now, the NFL didn't forgive. 1-game suspension. But what the hell happened on that field after the winning kick? What did Greenlaw do that was so serious? Stick with me until the end. And I'll tell you all the details of this mess that's got the Broncos family pulling their hair out. Let's start from the beginning, because this situation has layers, my friend. Week 7 of the season. Broncos facing the Giants at home. The game was one of those nail-biters from start to finish. We suffered. The defense had to hold under pressure. The offense needed to wake up at the right time, and when everything seemed lost, boom! An absolutely insane final period. We turned that game around in a way that only true Broncos country understands. That grit, that fire, that huge heart this team has, and then comes the decisive moment. With 1 second left on the clock, Will Lutz comes onto the field to kick a 39-yard field goal. The ball goes up, splits the uprights, and the crowd explodes. Victory secured, everyone in ecstasy. But while our players were celebrating, running around the field, hugging each other, a very strange scene started to unfold right there on the turf. And the protagonist of this mess? Dre Greenlaw, our linebacker, who had just made his debut in a Broncos jersey. Now, before I get into the hot details of this situation, let me explain who Dre Greenlaw is and why his presence was so anticipated by the Broncos family. This guy isn't just any player. Greenlaw spent 6 seasons playing for the San Francisco 49ers, where he established himself as one of the pillars of that California defense that everyone respects in the league. The guy is technical, aggressive, reads the game like few others, and has a nose for the ball that's impressive. During the offseason, the Broncos front office went out and brought this man to Colorado with a 3-year contract valued at $31.5 million. Yeah, you heard that right. That's the type of investment that shows how much we believe in his potential. The expectations were huge. Everyone wanting to see Greenlaw in that orange and blue uniform, commanding the second level of the defense, making violent tackles, disrupting opponents' offensive schemes. But there was a catch. Greenlaw arrived injured, a thigh injury that kept him out the first 6 weeks of the season. We waited, had patience, because we knew that when he came back, he'd make a whir. And finally, in Week 7, against the Giants, he was there, ready to debut, ready to show what he could do. And man, during the game, he showed the investment was worth it. Greenlaw finished the game with 6 total tackles, and even got a pressure on quarterback Jackson Dart. In other words, solid debut, contributing to holding that Giants offense and helping us pull off that heroic comeback. Everything perfect up to that point, right? But then comes the problem. When that field goal went through and the game ended, Greenlaw was clearly emotional. And look, I get it. First win with the new team, come back at the last second, crowd going crazy. Adrenaline was through the roof. But something happened between him and the head referee of that game, a guy named Brad Allen. The footage shows Greenlaw chasing Allen across the field. That's right, chasing. He went after the referee and started hurling insults at him. We don't know exactly what was said, but from the body language, the expressions, you could tell they weren't compliments. The situation heated up fast. And when things started to get really tense, the one who showed up to hold Greenlaw back was teammate Quay Robinson, who literally had to restrain the linebacker before things got completely out of control. But Brad Allen didn't stay quiet. The referee stopped walking, turned to face Greenlaw, and did something that caught everyone's attention. He grabbed a yellow flag, the one referees used to mark penalties, and threw it in the player's direction. It was like a gesture of, look here, you crossed the line, a way of signaling that this was extremely unsportsmanlike conduct. And look, Broncos country, we need to be honest here. As much as emotions are running high, as much as we understand the intensity of the moment. There are limits that can't be crossed. Confronting a referee, going after him, yelling, creating a threatening situation, that can't happen. The NFL has strict rules about respecting officials, and when you break those rules, the consequences come fast. And that's exactly what happened. On the Monday following the game, October 20th, the league officially announced Dre Greenlaw is suspended for 1 game. The punishment came for unsportsmanlike conduct for confronting and threatening referee Brad Allen after the end of the game. 1 game, out. An absence that's going to hurt the Broncos' defense, right, when we need all our best players available. Now, there's an important detail here. Greenlaw has 3 days from the announcement of the suspension to appeal the decision. He can file an appeal claiming the punishment was excessive, that the circumstances were misinterpreted, basically try to reverse or at least reduce the penalty. But let's be realistic. With footage of the incident circulating, with witnesses, with the referee himself having to throw the flag at the player, the chances of success on appeal are slim. And that brings us to the crucial point of this whole situation. What does this mean for the Broncos? What's the real impact of this suspension? Let's analyze coldly. First, the question of roster depth. Greenlaw is a high-level linebacker, a guy you want on the field for every defensive snap. He brings experience, leadership, ability to read and execute. When you take a player of this caliber out of the rotation for a game, you force the defensive scheme to adjust. Other linebackers will have to take on greater responsibilities, and that always opens the door for possible failures. Second, there's the timing issue. We're in the middle of the season fighting for playoff position. Every game counts. Losing a key defender right now could make the difference between winning or losing a crucial game. And in the NFL, where parity between teams is huge, where any slip-up costs you dearly, you can't afford to be without important pieces. Talk to me, Broncos country. Do you think we can hold the defense without Greenlaw in the next game? Leave your opinion in the comments. Hey, if you're part of the family, if you live and breathe Broncos country, subscribe to the channel now, hit the bell, and don't miss any updates about our team. Every day there's new content, complete analysis, and everything you need to know about the Broncos. Let's go together. Third point, and perhaps the most concerning, is the message this sends to the locker room. Greenlaw is new to the team, just arrived, and in his first opportunity to wear that Broncos jersey in an official game, he creates a mess that results in suspension. That's not the example you want to set for teammates. It's not the impression you want to make on the coaching staff. It's not the kind of headline you want to see associated with your name and the team's name. Of course mistakes happen. Of course heated moments can lead players to do things they later regret. But at the professional level, especially in the NFL, where every detail matters, you need to have emotional control. You need to know how to separate healthy competitiveness from self-destructive behavior. And look, I'm not here to crucify Greenlaw. The guy is an excellent player, has a respectable career, and is probably extremely regretful of what he did. But reality is harsh. He screwed up at the moment when he should have been celebrating an incredible victory with his new teammates, building chemistry, strengthening bonds. He went and created an unnecessary problem. Now let's talk a bit about Brad Allen, the referee involved in this mess. Allen is one of the most experienced officials in the NFL, with years of work in the league, officiating important games, including playoffs. The guy knows the rules inside and out, has seen it all on the field, and certainly isn't someone who's easily intimidated. But even so, when a 220-pound player full of adrenaline comes running in your direction yelling insults, the situation gets delicate. NFL referees have a thankless job. They're there to enforce the rules, to maintain the integrity of the game, and they're often the target of criticism from players, coaches, and fans. It's part of the job. But there's a line that can't be crossed, and that line is physical and verbal respect for officials. You can disagree with a call. You can think The referee made a mistake. You can even express your frustration in a respectful way, but going after the guy, threatening, insulting, that's unacceptable. And the fact that Brad Allen threw that yellow flag at Greenlaw shows that even referees themselves have limits. It was a human reaction to a pressure situation. Allen could have simply turned his back and ignored it, but he wanted to make it clear that that behavior crossed the line. And the NFL, by suspending Greenlaw, is sending a message to all players in the league. We won't tolerate this type of behavior. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think this Greenlaw situation is one of those defining moments for a player. He's at a crossroads. On one side, he can let this destroy his confidence, keep dwelling on the mistake, go onto the field afraid of messing up again. On the other side, he can use this as fuel, as motivation to prove to everyone he's much more than this incident. I want to believe he'll choose the second path. I want to believe that when he comes back from this suspension, we'll see an even more focused Greenlaw, even more determined, playing with intelligence and control. But only time will tell. And you, Broncos country, are you willing to give Greenlaw a second chance? Or do you think this was already too big of a red flag? I want to see your opinions in the comments. So, Broncos family, we're wrapping up. Another video with all the information about this complicated Greenlaw situation. The suspension is confirmed, 1 game out. And now we wait to see how he and the team will respond to this challenge. What would you do if you were the Broncos head coach? How would you handle this situation? Drop by the comments and tell us. And if you have friends who are Broncos country, share this video with them. Leave that like if you enjoyed the content, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. We'll see you in the next one, with more analysis, more news, more everything about our beloved Denver Broncos. Until next time, Broncos country, and remember, united, we're stronger. Always.